bounty hunters. So, I think we can agree that the pinks and greens are different tribes or something, Bongani notes as he walks along, looking into his communicator. There had been a hint of a signal a short while ago, but the signal got stronger going right through a wall, and moving to break it down had freaked out some of the locals so badly they had started foaming at the mouth. The fact that he could very well intimidate these women to death by sheer accident had him concerned, as him approaching that wall in specific had been the only time the women had showed back up again. And nothing makes you feel like a bad guy than a crowd of nearly naked women and girls clearly begging for their lives and the lives of their loved ones while openly weeping in raw terror. It had really sucked what fun there was out of the situation, and he just wanted a way out. Whatever Halmara is, it is clearly the sort of thing that at its most gentle is used to terrify children into behaving and leaving them with nightmares for the remainder of their life. The fact that he's apparently one of them walking around is nothing short of having some kind of burning demon walking through a primitive village. It doesn't matter if the demon doesn't hurt anyone. The village is either running or attacking, and he's proven attacking doesn't work, so they're running hard and wailing how the end has come. He really hopes he doesn't displace the entire population of slug women. He also doesn't want to traumatize the entire species. Being the Satan figure of someone's religion isn't something on his bucket list. He turns a corner, and Halmara rolls his eyes as it happens again. Wherever this path is, things are changing, as the glowing in the walls is shifting ever so slightly. There's more pink among the green, and he's catching the occasional glimpse of blue and purple as well. There is a shout that has no words, and the light increases as all four scene colors grow brighter. From all sides, numerous different slug women emerge wielding a variety of weapons. Only the green are holding metal weapons, and the rest have stone, bone, and root-based weapons. "I've got their attention. Mind holding our prisoner?" Bongani asks Sally, who gives him an incredulous look. "I want her dead," Sally snarls. "If you kill her, she's only dead. If we take her into the Empire, then she's shamed and gets to see everything fall apart," Bongani says, and after a moment, Sally smiles and holsters her weapon. "All right, pass her over. I'll keep her safe." "But not happy," Sally says, and Bongani shifts over ideally before holstering his weapon and walking to the growing mass of terrified slug women. They back away in obvious fear, whispering the word Halmara as they do so. Does anyone have the courage to try and speak? "Is there any here with some kind of ability to speak or the courage to try?" he asks in a gentle tone, and that just seems to confuse them. "Come on, I'm reaching out and being as gentle as I can. Please meet me halfway." The situation has gotten strange as Pink is still incredibly hostile to the native green girl. But, well, they're slugs and have a very soft exterior. Without bones, the worst Pink can do is try to slap green. They separated them and things had dissolved into an incredibly stupid attempt to fight. It was very clear that without weapons or some kind of axiom training, the slug women were not very dangerous, but also so resilient that they were immune to what little damage they could do. Without weapons, the slug women were more able to hurt the undaunted near them more than each other. Their bodies are apparently incredibly resilient, and there is nothing they can do to hurt each other so long as the men keep plucking whatever weapons or rocks or handfuls of dirt they grab are confiscated before they can hit each other with them. "This is getting weirder," Scaly mutters as Pink and Green both freeze as he brushes aside his hair to show them the red glowing eye that paralyzes them both. He points at both of them and gestures for them to get some distance from each other, and they do so. "Halmara?" Pink asks. "Turaka Halmara," Green states. "More Halmara?" "Wait," Pukey mutters before pointing to Scaly. "Turaka Halmara?" That was apparently not a productive attempt at translation as it sets them both babbling. He crouches down, making sure that both slug women can see him, and looks from one to the other pointedly. His advanced eye can see that a huge amount of their natural axiom flow is reinforcing them. It would take a very sharp edge or a bullet to break their skin. He holds his arms open in a baffled expression. "Why?" He points to them both, one with each arm. "Are you?" He then punches his fists against each other. "Fighting." "Fighting?" Pink asks, then mimes punching. "Fighting?" "Yes. Why are you fighting?" He nods before going through the motions again, Asuzarn! The pink one has clearly understood and openly thinks about it before clapping. She then points to Pukey, then to her eye, and then to Scaly, and then her eye again. The left eye, where both Pukey and Scaly have a glowing prosthetic, one in light blue and the other a bright red. Pukey and Scaly both point to their eyes. Asus Arn, she states. Asus Arn? Pukey asks, looking towards the local green one, who nods. Wait a minute, Scaly says before gesturing to his tail and also toward Pukey. Asus Arn? Nods. Different tribes? Airfarce asks. Oh fuck, Emerald Shell has been up arming one native tribe against the others to drown them in debt to her. Or to have the winning tribe sell them into slavery, or let's not spitball. First priority is first priority. How do we get Miss Local here to tell us where the hat, Sally, and our prisoner is? Tang asks. All right, let me try this again, Airfarce says as he holds his hands out and slowly, very slowly, has a glowing image of a Dali emerald shell, which he slowly brings up to green, and after he lets her poke the harmless axiom illusion a few times, he then points to it. Where did she go? Wayhair? The green girl asks with her head tilted to the side. Where did she go? Airfarce asks, and he makes the image animate her running, then brings in more images of Governess's emerald shell, suddenly speaking to the green-hued slug women. Daru, she says, pointing the way. There we go. I usually prefer fast turns and acceleration, but seeing something come together is beautiful in its own way, Airfarce says, standing up with a nod. Don't you do at least half of all engine work? Scaly asks. Yep, I love it when things come together, Airfarce says. What do y'all think you're doing? Sally asks as the hat grabs onto the stone spear that is being thrust at him, but doesn't fight with it as the woman holding it turns it and cuts his palm. As a few drops of blood slowly drip down the slug, girls stare in awe at it for a moment before the spear is held under the drops and catches a few. A finger is used to see it, and then the girl, one of the blue ones, licks it. Savutas? She asks. Savutas? Kla Halmara? A green one asks. Kla Savutas. Itia Halmara? A purple one protests. Suvatas Halmara? A pink one asks, and the nearest blue one slaps her in the side of the head, and that starts a small fight, and the hat turns and points at them, and they freeze. None of that, the hat says in a calm tone. Then he sees the blue one, that had technically stabbed him, scoots up and then pokes him in the cheek. Kla Halmara? The blue girl asks, before she leans the spear against herself instead of holding it properly and starts running her damp hands over his face. She holds a finger in front of his face, and he follows it with his eyes as hers widen as she examines him. Ah, he answers, and she examines his teeth. She then pokes him in the tongue and pulls back her hand as he slowly closes his mouth. Kla Halmara, Vugo Daru Halmara. Kla Halmara, she declares, and the weapons are pointed away from the hat. Then they all start talking all at once as they all do the half-slither, half-scooting thing they do to rush up to him and begin poking and feeling him all over. They pay a lot of attention to where he has scars and where his skin is textured differently, like around the elbows and the backs of his finger joints. Varro, someone calls out, and a hole opens in the air where white light pours out of. Then a glowing white slug woman moves out of it, and the entire group parts before her as she wriggles up. She's larger than the others by a substantial degree, and she gestures for the hat to stand. She mummers as she examines him, then looks towards Governess Emerald Shell and stares long into the face of Sally before nodding. Then she slowly has a pair of what appear to be antennae slowly grow upwards from her head, and they sway as she does, and then she brings them together to stick them to the hat's forehead. Daru clearly means they're that way, maybe both, as the local girl has clearly understood her assignment and is showing them the way through the tunnels and even waits for them as Itchy keeps pressing signal boosters into the walls. There are many other green slug girls coming out to watch them, and there are questions being sent, and more than once they have to stop them from stabbing the pink one. There's clearly a war or something going on, but is it ethnic cleansing or something else? What makes them glow different colors? Hey, is anyone else smelling water? Scaly asks, and Pukey sniffs the air. It does smell like a rainstorm went through. He agrees. It's probably the hat's fault, Tang says. Yeah, that's an easy one. Pukey notes before the green girl leads them into a room with a central podium. Itchy activates another signal booster, and his eyes widen. Guys, we have more communicators in range. He's within 100 meters, Itchy exclaims. Hat, can you hear me? Pukey calls out around and the sound echoes and carries hard. Y'all hear that? Sally asks before the hat's communicator starts going off. The white slug backs off a little as he brings out the device. We have a signal. It's very weak, but it's there. The hat begins, and then he feels the axiom get pulled on hard, and suddenly Emerald Shell is beside the white slug, who waves a hand, and her bindings, including the gag, all fall away. Emerald Shell quickly begins speaking in the native's language, and the weapons are aimed at the hat and Sally, who both have a weapon on her. She sneers at them and then says more in the native language. The white one begins reaching towards the disruption totem wrapped around Emerald Shell's neck, and then pauses as the hat barks "Ano" at her. The white one asks a question, and the immediate answer from Emerald Shell has several of the natives charge them spears down and with full intent to impale them. The hat slips around them and fires a shot from his pistol, but Adili has reinforced her shell, and the bullet shatters against the armor of He-Ni. The problem is that he can't hypercharge the shot with Axiom without risking hurting or killing the natives. And while any other group would simply disregard the hostile locals, he holds himself to a higher standard. After all, he is undaunted. He is better than that. Axiom flows and he draws it in. Spears and axes break against his hidden armor. Flint-tipped arrows shatter against his skin. The halves of weapons break as he moves, shoving aside but not hurting the locals as his hands close around Emerald Shell's neck. She's managed to get her armor up in time and her wings out, but he's got a grip of the slippery bitch, right before the wave of Axiom hits him and starts trying to pry them apart. Bionaras, go! At her cry, numerous portals open wide and numerous other white slug women come through, and the Axiom pressure slowly peels back Bongani's grip and hurls him backwards. Sally tries to catch him and manages to deflect him from being thrown down an open tunnel, but they both hit the wall next to it instead, which is none too pleasant. The Axiom bills like a rising tsunami before a portal opens again. Stop! A lightless slug person calls out. It has a distinctly male torso that's deep green and gray with numerous markings. Stop! Bongani lands on his feet and Sally lands on him, but slides down to land on her own. You all right? I am. Y'all can talk? Sally answers before asking. Slower, please. Your language. Odd, the slug man says. Adili barks something out and a stern look from the newcomer silences her. He says something in their language and the weapons are slowly lowered. All shall be known, soon. Good, Bongani states. Good, the slug man agrees.